We were planning a baby. I was saving for a crib. She was booking hotels with someone she met at her gym. I found out when I opened our joint bank app. I didn't yell. I just cashed out the account and sent her a screenshot with the caption, "Good luck." I met her at a coffee shop in downtown Chicago. I was 28, working as a software engineer, and she was 26, a fitness instructor at a local gym. We hit it off immediately, bonding over our love for dogs and hiking. After 2 years of dating, we got married. Life seemed perfect. We bought a modest house in the suburbs. I continued my job in tech, and she started her own fitness coaching business. We adopted a golden retriever named Max. Talks of starting a family became frequent. We even started a joint savings account labeled Baby Fund. Every month, I diligently transferred money into it, dreaming of the day we'd use it for our child. She began spending more time at the gym, claiming she was expanding her client base. Late-night sessions became common. She'd come home exhausted, often avoiding intimacy. I attributed it to her growing business. I wanted to be supportive. One evening, I decided to check our joint bank account to see how much we had saved. To my shock, several transactions stood out: hotel bookings, expensive dinners, and spa treatments. All during times she claimed to be working late. My heart sank. I didn't confront her immediately. Instead, I started collecting evidence. I checked her phone when she was asleep. Messages with someone named Jake confirmed my suspicions. They met at her gym and had been seeing each other for months. I decided to take action. I cashed out our joint account, transferring the funds to my personal account. Then, I sent her a screenshot of the empty account with the caption, "Good luck." She came home, furious. She accused me of betrayal. I calmly presented the evidence. She broke down, apologizing and begging for forgiveness. But the damage was done. I filed for divorce. I kept the house and Max. She moved out, and I focused on rebuilding my life. I started therapy, reconnected with old friends, and even took up painting. Slowly, I found peace. A year later, I met someone new. She was kind, understanding, and shared my values. We took things slow. Eventually, we talked about starting a family. This time, I was cautious but hopeful. Looking back, I realized that betrayal doesn't define you. It's how you respond that matters. I chose to protect myself, to heal, and to open my heart again. Life goes on, and sometimes it gets even better. Just when I thought the storm had passed, she started showing up again. First, it was small things, liking old photos of Max on my social media, then sending a random text like, "Hope he still loves the park near Lincoln Avenue." Like I forgot she used to take him there when I worked late. Then came the package. It showed up at my door on a Saturday morning. No return address, just my name. Inside was a small blue onesie. A baby onesie. I just stood there, staring at it. My brain was trying to make sense of it, but my gut already knew. I called her. "What the hell is this?" "I thought you should know," she said, her voice trembling. "I'm pregnant. It's yours." My head went blank. No words came out for a good 10 seconds. I was certain, dead sure, there hadn't been anything between us physically in months before she left. But she swore it was mine. Swore she hadn't been with anyone else until after we split. I didn't trust her. Not anymore. But I also couldn't ignore the possibility. If there was a kid, I needed to know the truth. The next week was a blur. I scheduled a paternity test. She agreed without hesitation, and that scared me more than if she'd refused. She was either sure I was the father, or she was playing a very dangerous game. I didn't tell anyone, not even Melissa, the woman I'd been seeing for 6 months now. We were solid. She was patient, calm, nothing like the chaos I'd walked away from. But this was a bomb I wasn't ready to drop on her yet. The test results took 10 days. 10 long, sleepless, haunted days. When the envelope came, I opened it in my truck, parked outside the lab. My hand shook. Probability of paternity, 0%. It wasn't mine. I didn't call her. I didn't need to. I knew what this was. She wasn't trying to come back. She wanted to punish me for leaving her. She thought a baby would anchor me to her forever. So I called Jake. Yep, the guy she'd cheated with. Found his number in her old texts. Left a voicemail. "Hope you're doing great, man. Just wanted to say congrats. She's all yours." Literally. 3 hours later, he called back. "What do you mean?" I sent him the DNA results. Screenshot. No words. Just like I'd done to her with the bank account. He called again. Then again. Then he stopped. Turns out Jake had a wife. And kids. A whole other life she didn't know about. Guess who found out about everything? Yup, his wife. Guess who sent me a thank you gift basket and a handwritten note that said, "I owe you one." Also, yup, the gym lost 2 instructors in the same week. Her contract got canceled. Word got around fast. Clients started pulling out. No one wants life advice from someone who can't even keep their own in check. I didn't tell Melissa the whole truth. Not at first. Just said an ex was trying to stir up old drama. But one night, she came across the test results. I'd left them folded inside a book I thought I'd hidden well enough. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just looked at me and said, "What else haven't you told me?" That hit harder than a slap. I told her everything. From the first red flag to the onesie to the DNA test. I expected her to leave. Instead, she just sat there, quiet, thinking. After a while she said, "If we're doing this, there can't be secrets." And I knew right then, this one was worth holding on to. Just when I thought everything had calmed down, a letter arrived. Not a text, not an email, a real letter. It was postmarked from Joliet, Illinois. Return address, Will County Correctional Center. Inside, a 2-sentence note in scratchy handwriting. "I'm sorry. She told me it was your baby. I did what I had to do. They gave me 5 years." There was no name, but I knew. Jake. I sat there in my kitchen for an hour, holding that letter like it was ticking. What the hell did he do? Later that week, I found out. A friend who worked in local news sent me a link. Fitness trainer caught in web of lies leading to violent altercation. Local man sentenced. Turns out Jake's wife didn't just leave him. She told him she was pregnant too. When he tried to confront my ex about the chaos, things got heated. Real heated. Police were called. Punches were thrown. One of them ended up in the ER. The other in handcuffs. That baby of hers. Born 2 months later. Still not Jake's. I got curious. Real curious. I dug deeper. Paid for a private investigator. I needed to know who the father really was. Not because I cared about her anymore, but because something didn't sit right. Too many lies. Too many shadows. The PI took 2 weeks. The answer hit like a sledgehammer. The baby's real dad was her old client. Married. Older. Wealthy. One of the gym's biggest donors. His wife filed for divorce 3 days after the baby was born and used the DNA proof in court. He lost half his assets. My ex. She was now living in a small apartment in Berwyn, working part-time, and juggling single motherhood. No trust fund. No love story. Just a trail of mess. Things with Melissa were good. Solid. Until one night we were walking Max by the lake, and she got a phone call that stopped her cold. "I have to take this," she said, stepping away. Something about her body language felt off. Not scared. Just guilty. Later that night, I asked her. She hesitated. Then she told me. Before we met, she was engaged. A guy in Denver. Broke it off after she found out he had a double life, 2 phones, 2 jobs, 2 women. She left, moved to Chicago for a clean break. Never looked back. Except now the guy was calling her again. Said he was sober. Said he changed. Said he wanted closure. "I'm telling you because I trust you," she said. I'm not answering him. But I thought you should know. I appreciated her honesty. But in the back of my head, that little voice started up again, the one that whispers, "What if?" 3 weeks later, Melissa came home late. Said she ran into an old friend from Denver. Went for coffee. Nothing happened, she said. I nodded. But I checked the bank app. One transaction stood out. The Drake Hotel, 2 drinks at the rooftop bar. She didn't mention that. I didn't say anything. I just watched. The next night, I followed her. Not proud of it. But I needed to know. She went to the park. Met someone there. Tall guy, clean cut. Looked military. I stayed far enough to not be seen. Close enough to snap a photo. She hugged him. Too long. When she got home, I had the photo up on my laptop. "Want to talk about this?" She froze. Then she sat down and said the words I didn't expect. I wasn't cheating. She explained he was the fiancé. He was back in town for a funeral. She felt like she owed him a conversation. Nothing more. She didn't tell me because she didn't want to open old wounds. But that's the thing, I said. We can't move forward if we're still dragging bodies from the past. She cried. I didn't. That night, she slept on the couch. I stared at the ceiling and thought about how trust, once cracked, never sounds the same again. After that night on the couch, things between Melissa and me grew cold. Not icy, just distant. We'd talk, we'd laugh, we'd still eat dinner together, but something was missing. Trust, probably. Or maybe we were both waiting for the other to mess up. Then, one day, I got a message. Not from her. Not from my ex. But from someone I didn't know, Stacy. It was a screenshot of texts. Melissa's number. Her ex. Not only were they still talking, they'd been meeting up. One message said, "I miss the old days." Another said, "He doesn't need to know." That broke something in me. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't say a word. Instead, I started planning. Remember the joint account I had with my first ex? Well, I learned something from that whole mess. How people leave trails. I opened a new account with Melissa. Told her it was for a vacation to Napa. We both started putting money in, her more than me. She was making more now, had a side hustle selling art online. I played the sweet, patient boyfriend role perfectly. Meanwhile, I started talking to her ex, got his number from a friend of a friend. Sent him a fake investment opportunity through a burner email. He bit. Transferred $5,000. Then I reported the fraud, with his real name, email, and bank account. That part, completely legal. Melissa came home one Friday in a rush. Said her ex had been arrested for bank fraud. He was blaming her. Said she gave him the idea. She was panicking, crying, saying she had nothing to do with it. I just nodded. That sucks, I said. That weekend, she asked to use the vacation fund to pay for a lawyer. I said sure. Let her transfer everything over to her account. Then I drained it. Every last penny. I sent her the same screenshot I sent my ex years ago. Caption: "You knew the rules. Don't cry about the game." She screamed at me, called me names I won't repeat. Said I was just as bad as everyone else. Maybe I was. I packed my stuff. Moved out. Left the key on the table with one sticky note. Closure. For a while, I felt untouchable. Free. Like the storm had passed and I came out stronger. Smarter. Then came the audit. Remember how I drained that account? Yeah, turns out Melissa had claimed the contributions as part of her business. IRS came knocking. Said I owed back taxes on my share since it wasn't reported right. Plus penalties. And that legal thing I did with the ex? Technically legal, but it caught the attention of investigators. They questioned me. Twice. No charges, but a very clear warning. Next time you play vigilante, you might not like the ending. I was alone again. No dog, Max had passed. No partner. Just silence. Until I got one more letter. From my first ex. It had a photo inside. A little boy, maybe 4 years old. Blonde curls. Big brown eyes. I named him Miles, she wrote. Turns out the DNA test was wrong. I got it retested. Twice. He's yours. He looks just like you. I dropped the letter. Sat down. Started to shake. Then I laughed. Not happy laughter. That kind that comes out when your brain breaks. I met Miles 6 weeks later. She wasn't lying. He looked just like me. Same ears. Same weird cowlick. Same laugh. She wanted a co-parent. Said she wanted to do things right now. Said she was sorry for all of it. I said I'd think about it. But I didn't. Instead, I filed for sole custody. Brought up the lies. The hotels. The other men. The DNA fraud. The unstable job. The lack of support. I won. Miles lives with me now. And I love him. I really do. But every now and then, when I'm putting him to bed, he looks at me and smiles, her smile, and I remember everything. Every game. Every lie. Every screw-up. And I remind myself of something. Nobody wins in revenge. We all bleed. We all lose. Even if we don't see it right away.